All right, what's going on, everybody? Steve here again. This time I'm in Palatine, Illinois at the Palatine Skatepark, which is behind me. Prefabricated park, kind of perched up on a little bit of a hill. So for this area, it's a nice view, but we got the reservoir right by us, and we're going to go check out this skate park. Um, Good shape, nice and smooth. Ramps are relatively new and in good condition. So you'll see here in a minute that even though it's a prefabricated park sitting on top of a cement slab, it still rides really good. So let's go check it out. All right, I'm going to start by working from the back of the park towards the front. And the first thing that I'm going to cover is what I would call the low impact section. So this is like old man ledge, street skater stuff. And you can see in front of me, we've got a foot tall, 4 foot wide, 8 foot long standard box / manual pad. So obviously prefabricated. This is metal on top. So Rodney Mullen, you can get your Primo slides on this one. But anyway, the edges of it are definitely sharp and kind of jagged at this point, but still, put some wax on it, grinds really good. And then right next to it, we've got a kind of A-frame ledge, and there's one side is a little bit more slanted, so it's kind of like a wall ride. But this thing starts at about 6 inches off the ground and goes all the way to about 2 feet. So really mellow pitch, 8 feet long on either side of it, and about 2 feet wide on the top. So you've got this to work as like either an up ledge or manual pad, but you can kind of see on the side here, it does slant, so you can do some wall rides if you want to. Now, I don't know what this thing is supposed to be. I think they intended it to be like a curb, but the concrete is really not, that's poured into this like metal frame is not really flush, and it doesn't grind well at all. I was trying to mess with it earlier, but you could, I guess, grind on the inside of it and maybe that'll grind well. But this thing is just kind of a weird height. So on one side it's about 8 inches tall, and then on the other side it goes up to about a foot. So there's like a 4-inch kind of slant or drop on the side of it, and obviously curves around in that C range, as you can see. But that one, really, it's weird, and there's not great setup. So you got the quarter to kind of carve around on, and then behind me, we'll get to in a second, is a wedge ramp. Now we've got a 3/4 bowl, and this thing is about 4 feet tall. Pretty standard transitions, super mellow, and you can see the bold corners. So it's like about a 16-foot section, then a bold corner that's about 8 feet, another 8-foot section in the middle, 8-foot corner, and then another 16-foot extension. So very symmetrical in nature. Can ride into it easily, as you see this little wedge here. And you've got these quarter pipe hips on either side. However, it's going to be tough to get speed to do like hip transfers and stuff like that. And it's just weird setup. So not really ideal, but you can skate this like a mini ramp, and you've got a couple corners to work with as well if you're feeling comfortable with those kinds of lines. But unfortunately, you go around the corner going towards the center, you're going to come out and you just go straight out into flat. So not really the best setup there. Next, you've got a bit of a low impact, easy to skate street section. The problem is the flat part on top doesn't really give you a lot of time to set up, but you can get speed off the bigger wedge bank ramp towards the back and hit these like a bump to bar or bump to ledges. These ledges themselves are only about a foot off, and when you ollie onto them from the flat, it's like basically ollieing onto a curb. So super easy to skate. Good for beginners, but again, not a lot of setup time on top. I'll get up there and show you, but it's not really ideal. And then, of course, the rail here. This thing is about 10 feet long. Towards the end of it, it's close to 2 feet off the ground. Towards the top part, maybe more like 16 inches. So you can see from the top, I'm standing on top of a 2-foot quarter, and there's only about 16 feet to set up for on this ramp, so not ideal at all. I'm cutting around a little bit, but I'll make my way back to the center. Next, we've got this kind of bizarre flat bar that is got to be 18 inches tall or more. And then it's got a little bit of a kink towards the end of it that kind of kicks you off. So I actually like this, other than the fact that it's really tall. So probably better for a BMX rider than a skater. However, the concept's good. The execution, maybe not so much. But this thing is about 8 feet long. So you got that if you want to hit a skate or flat bar. Also, not a lot of space to set up. Coming from that end, you got to come from the other end if you want to skate this. Next, we've got pretty steep hip. Obviously, you can see the hubba ledges that make it symmetrical. The hubbas are only about a foot or 14 inches off the top of the bank. Standard dimensions, 8 feet down on either side and 8 feet in the middle. The hip or pyramid, whatever you want to call this, it is kind of steep in the sense that you don't really have a lot of setup time. It's only about 5 feet before you reach the top, and it's 2 feet tall. So you can kind of imagine the dimensions. It's a lot steeper than maybe what you want, but at the same time, it will kick you up if you're doing tricks over the hip. So, take it or leave it. It is what it is. I skipped over this part when I was standing on top of the 2 foot quarter, but we've got another 4 foot quarter section that kind of transitions into a bit of a hip. So you do have that if you want to kind of come off of the big bank towards the back and kind of fly off the 2 foot quarter into the 4 foot quarter, or vice versa. Got that as a little way to learn how to skate a quarter pipe hip. Towards the middle, we've got a spine and an A-frame bank or wedge plus rail. The spine is about 2.5 feet tall or so, and you can see it's got like a curb set up on top of it. It's about 8 feet wide, but you can hit it from either direction and go right over it. And then the A-frame rail next to it is pretty beefy. Definitely you could sack it if you're not careful, but that thing is about 8 feet or 10 feet long on either side. Again, symmetrical, round rail. And the wedge ramp itself is only about 2 feet off the ground. So accessible if you want to just roll over it, pump over it, and get speed going in one way or the other. Lastly, we've got a 5 foot bank ramp with hip. So this thing is, like I said, 5 feet off the ground, but the length of it is closer to 10 feet or so. So big. The width on this side is about 8 feet. On the other side, it's closer to 16 feet. So if you can imagine, these panels are about 4 feet across. So you've got plenty of space to turn around, and this is really where you're going to get speed if you're going to hit some like the bump to bars, bump to ledges. All right, that does it for the Palatine, Illinois skate park. Hope you enjoyed this video. I've got a couple other skate park tours of different North Chicago, Northwest suburbs skate parks coming up in the channel, so you definitely want to come check those out. Otherwise, stay tuned for the next skate park review, and if you have any questions about this park or ones you want me to do, just put them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.